All right, guys, welcome to Wellness Wednesday. We've got two amazing guests here with us. We have got Ms. Laura Miller and Libby, right?
Yes.
Hi, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to them and they will get us kicked off.
All right. Well, good evening. How's everybody doing so far tonight?
Good.
Good. Wonderful. Glad you all could make it on the call for tonight. So thanks for joining us. As Erin said, my name is Laura Covert Miller, and I am a professor at Pittsburg State University in Pittsburg, Kansas. Does anybody know where that's at? Pittsburg, Kansas?
Yes.
Not really, no.
Well, if you're unfamiliar, we're in the southeastern corner of the state. So we're south of Kansas City a little bit.
I was gonna say like Olathe, Kansas City area.
Yep, about an hour,
Yeah.
2 hours south of Olathe, past Olathe. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I teach here at Pittsburg State, and basically I teach about how to stay healthy and how I teach students on how to adapt to fitness activities and physical activities and things like that, and working with a variety of populations. And here with me today, I have the lovely Libby. So Libby, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi, my name is Libby, and I'm a graduate assistant at Pitt State. So I am a student, and I just kind of help out around here, and I help her with her classes, kind of also helping teaching and stuff like that, with other populations and all kinds of things. So
Fun stuff. So just a little bit of background too is that I've been collaborating with Special Olympics Kansas for at least 7 years. So in those 7 years I've been working with Special Olympics Kansas, we've been able to do a lot of fun, just like research projects. Right now we're working on a research project together, looking at fitness assessments with Special Olympic athletes, and we did that a year ago as well too. And then we've done a lot of events together too. So I'm pretty familiar with Special Olympics Kansas and what you all do. And maybe you've seen my face sometime around on a video or in some kind of a call or something or another. But so we appreciate you guys being here today. Libby, do you want to pull up the PowerPoint and do a share screen, please? Got to get our PowerPoint pulled up. We're coming to you live from our lab. All right, so from our lab here. And can you make it bigger on the bottom? Down there. Yep. And you might have to do a share screen again. So click on share.
oh,
There you go.
no
Yep.
You guys are on.
Go to the big one.
Oh,
There you
this
go.
one? Okay, sorry.
No, the other one on top where it says.
Oh my gosh, sorry.
We're good. Okay, there we go. All right, perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna flip through these slides just a little bit, but what we're gonna be talking about today is physical activity, and specifically just more about some different fitness assessments and how we can remain active when we're at our home, other than maybe just doing like a workout video, some things to kind of change it up a little bit. I don't like to call exercise physical activity all the time, just because sometimes people don't like the term exercise. So I like to call it physical activity just to make it a little less intimidating for people. So we're gonna spring into physical activity here tonight. Maybe, there we go. We've already talked about who we are, what we do, so we're gonna keep going through there. All right, so here, I just want to get to know you guys a little bit more, and we want to know what's your favorite physical activity. And so when I talk about physical activity, that can be anything from dancing, gardening, exercising, specifically like lifting weights, running, walking your dog. I mean, anything that you're moving can be physical activity. So if you want to participate, I'd like to know the name of the activity. Do you do it by yourself or with other people? Where do you do this physical activity? So do you do it at home? Do you do it at a wellness center? Do you just go outside and do it? So those are the three things I'd like to know. So you can either write in the chat box, or if you just want to tell us, you can just tell us that as well too. Does anybody want to share?
Oh, I'll go.
Okay.
So I do biking, like just for fun. So I go outside and ride my bike. I also I usually go running at the track at the school over here where I live. And so I usually go running as well when it's nice.
Nice. Thanks, Seth. I love to bike and run too. I love doing that stuff. And when it's a nice day, it's even better. Would anybody else like to share?
I'll go. I like to do like yoga and Zumba and jumping jacks, and I do it by myself. And like I do it on my computer at home through like different states that have stuff through Zoom.
Nice, very good. Yeah, yoga and Zumba. I bet you have a lot of fun doing Zumba.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
All right, thanks.
I got one.
Okay.
My program, like they do like month ahead or so, and for the field trips, and in the fall or winter we went to the home club fitness center inside, and it was awesome.
Nice, very fun. Very
People were
cool.
lifting weights and running on the track and walking on track and everything. It was awesome.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing.
No problem.
Yeah. All right. It looks like we have one in the chat as well. Thank you, Libby. All right. Thank you. Thanks for letting us know there. Okay. So we're going to move on here. And all these are really great examples of things you guys like to do for physical activity as well. So it's great that you're out there and being physically active. So we're going to move forward here. So this is just going to cover what we're going to talk about today, which I've kind of already discussed here. But as a review, we're going to talk about just basics and benefits of physical activity. And so you probably already know or are familiar with the benefits of physical activity, but it's always good to be reminded. Then we're going to do a couple physical activity assessments, some really basic that we could all do together if you want to do them with us here today. And then we just have some tips and tricks for some physical activity as well. And then at the end, we'll have some question time. If you guys do have questions as we're going along, please just let us know as well too here. We're pretty informal in the conversation we have going on here. All right. So moving forward, maybe. Okay. So I've already talked about this a little bit here, but just to review, all right, so the definition of physical activity is any bodily movement resulting in using calories. And with that being said, all of you gave great examples of physical activity, which are awesome, from Zumba and yoga to biking, to even going on field trips is an example of a physical activity as well. So for me, I like to run and bike as well too. I love walking my dog. I like to garden too. So all of those can be things that you can do that will burn calories. So you can have fun with physical activity. It doesn't always have to be exercising, but if you like to exercise, then do it, all right? So just to kind of start us off, since this is a discussion about physical activity, we're going to do some physical activity. And Libby is going to take the lead on just a quick little exercise here for us to do.
Yep, so first we are just kind of gonna warm up a little bit. So I want everyone to roll their shoulders forward. And then we're gonna do a couple more seconds, and then we're gonna go the other way. All right, so switch the other way, so go backwards.
Shoulders
Good job.
getting loose, Libby.
Yeah. Okay, so now we are going to roll our neck. So try to roll to the left side. So roll your neck all the way around.
Going nice and slow, not going too fast here.
We'll do one more time and then we'll switch. Okay, so now if you are done with that rotation, we're gonna go the other way.
Do we want to be doing some deep breathing in and out too, Libby, while we're doing this?
Yes, so deep breathe in and out. Make sure you're controlling your breathing and going slow. I'll do a couple more. Okay, now I want you to roll your wrists and move your fingers too. Ooh, yeah, we're just gonna get it all warmed up.
I feel like I'm gonna do a magic spell.
Okay. Okay, a couple more, and then we're gonna go the other way. So go the other way now. Okay. Okay, so now to get a little bit more movement, we're going to raise our opposite arm and opposite leg just straight up. So just like this. There you go. Yep. And if you need to scoot forward a little bit, you can do that. Just make sure you're not going too far forward that you might fall. Just be careful. And try to go a little faster if you can. Ooh. Yeah, can you guys feel it?
Yes, I'm like, why is this so hard?
Okay, we're gonna go a couple more, try to go even faster. Oh. Okay, so now I want you to take your opposites, but this time you're gonna touch them together. So instead of going up and down, you're going to rotate and touch your elbow to your knee on each side. And you should feel it in your abs a little bit.
Oh, I feel it, Libby. I feel it.
Okay, a couple more. Okay, 2 and 1. All right, that is all I have for our little warm up for physical activity.
All right. Thank you, Libby. All right. Hopefully
Libby, that was a warm up. That didn't feel like a warm up.
That was all of it. That was all of it. Yeah, just a warm up to the rest of the presentation.
Yeah. Just a little, just to get our blood flowing. We know you've been working out too already today. That just got our blood flowing a little bit there. All right. Okay. So let's move forward here in talking about physical activity now that we've done a little bit. So just some guidelines. I like to talk about guidelines so we all have a general idea of kind of, what are we shooting for? What are we aiming for when we're thinking about how much physical activity should we be doing in a day? And so here I just put up a slide for kids, all right? So if you work with kids, if you're around kids, just know that they need at least 60 minutes a day of moderate and vigorous aerobic physical activity. As you can see on the screen here, my examples are such as walking fast, wheeling oneself in a wheelchair, playing softball, playing basketball, playing soccer, things of that nature. And then for the muscle activities, can you move that a little bit? Sorry, we need to move something on our screen here for a moment. Thank you. And then muscle strengthening activities 3 days a week. And so those can be as simple as like body weight exercises such as like squats, but also too, just going out onto, I think, are monkey bars still on a playground? I don't know. Okay, thank you, Erin. So like with monkey bars on a playground, right? So playing on the monkey bars and playing on different types of playground equipment too. I personally, I personally like to go to the playground, and sometimes I'll do my workouts on playgrounds because it's just a different, of course, school's out, all right? So I'm not out there with the kids, I'm in their recess. But I'll go out there and just, play on the different pieces of playground equipment and use that as my fitness equipment too. So just different ways to have fun. All right, so that's for kids. All right, do you want to see what's in the chat there, please? All right, so then next for physical activity guidelines for adults. So for adults, okay, and that's all of us here. So for adults, that is 150 minutes of moderate aerobic physical activity a week. So that is about 20 minutes every day. And I think, Gigi, you had said that you had got 79 minutes already.
Yeah, my watch had said 79 out of a possible 30 minutes that I'm allotted.
Well, it sounds like you have met for today your physical activity. Good job. That's awesome.
I got an Apple Watch for my birthday last year, and that's one of the things I like about it is you track yourself and it says, oh, you've got such and such amount of minutes and calories and all of this. All I have to hit is like 1 more minute of my stand goal, I think.
Oh, wow.
1 more hour.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, great job. So sounds like you're meeting those minutes that you need to get for at least a day, but if not a week, you're probably almost all your way there too. So with those, with that 150 minutes a week, that equates for about 20 minutes a day, as you see here on the screen. With that, that includes walking fast, wheeling oneself in a wheelchair, playing softball, playing some different sports, things of that nature. Or 75 minutes of vigorous aerobic physical activity a week. And so that could be things such as like if you're playing basketball, jogging, soccer, where your heart rate kind of gets up a little bit higher. So there are two ways that you can meet those requirements, or you can do a mixture of both. But generally, we just want to think about trying to get 150 minutes of physical activity a week. Right. Moving forward here. So benefits, and I'm sure you're all familiar with benefits and the health benefits, but just as a reminder, we know that being more physically active can help us lower the risk of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and obesity. It also helps us when we're more physically active, when we're just more active in general. It helps us just to complete our daily activities. So those things that we need to do, such as going to the grocery store, being able to, be the strong man or woman and carrying your 10 bags of groceries all at once, right? So it can help us in doing those different types of activities that we want to be completing. Getting up off the floor even, that it helps. Being physically active can help with that as well. Then also being physically active can improve your brain health. So you get the blood pumping, and when we were doing that opposite arm, opposite leg work here with Libby just a minute ago, that can help improve our brain health because we're working both sides of our body at the same time. So it's triggering our brains basically to fire these signals back and forth, and it's saying, okay, use this part of your body and this part of your body, and now do this and this and this. So it can just help in the brain improving the way it can function and to function in a healthy manner and to help us to have quick reaction times and things like that too. So physical activity, lots of benefits there. Also, one thing I want to talk about is that it does help with having a healthy blood pressure. Does anybody know what the recommended target goal for a good blood pressure is?
140/80?
A little bit lower for that top number, but you were kind of close there. 120/80.
Okay. I know it was something over 80.
Yes. But I did want to bring up, and kind of what you said here with 140/80, a good blood pressure can depend on each person because it can vary. So for some people, a good blood pressure could be 130/80. It can depend on, blood pressure can depend on medical conditions. It can depend on your, whoa,
Where am I going?
oh, you're scrolling. There we go. All right. So a good blood pressure too can depend on your medication and also your diet. So if you're not hitting that 120/80 all the time, and if you're varying like 125, 130/80, you're still doing okay. For some people, 140/80 is considered okay. I'm not saying for everybody, but some. And your doctor, of course, will gauge that and tell you what's a healthy range for you. All right, but typically that gold standard is 120/80. But as always, when we're thinking about a physical activity program, just remember before you start, if you are an inactive person, or if you're trying to get a friend or a family member who is inactive and you want them to start being active with you, always talk to your doctor or have them talk to their doctor before you start a physical activity program, just to make sure that you won't get hurt and that your body will react okay. And as always, start slowly and gradually add more as you go. So starting with maybe you work out or you exercise for maybe 10 minutes when you start. You exercise 10 minutes a day. And then after a week, maybe you bump it up to doing 20 minutes a day. So gradually introduce your body to that activity. But by all means, and the very first thing to remember there too, is to always have fun, because physical activity is fun. Okay, so anybody have any questions right now? Are we good here? I kind of feel like we're flying through it, but I think we're good. Okay, all right. So another thing, so Gigi, you had said that you have an Apple Watch and you can track your fitness on that Apple Watch, which is great. I have one, Libby has one. I think a lot of us all have some kind of a a fitness tracker that we wear as a watch as well. But the number of steps to achieve, again, that gold standard that's out there right now is that experts say 10,000 steps a day. But again, that can be different for each person depending on their health. For example, I hurt my back about a month ago and I was not able to walk for a very long period of time and I couldn't stand for a long period of time. And so me trying to hit 10,000 steps a day would not be good for me, right? So just thinking about what is your physical activity level to start with, and maybe getting 5,000 steps a day is really good. If you get 5,000 steps for a week, maybe try bumping it up to 6,000 steps. So again, I guess that gold standard, what we kind of refer to right now is 10,000 steps a day, which equals about 5 miles. All right, it's roughly about 5 miles is what that 10,000 steps equals to. But again, that can be varying for each person. And if you don't get 10,000 steps a day, it's okay. Most days, I think I average about 8,000 steps. Today I'm at 11,000, but my day was a little bit more active. So again, it kind of varies for each person as well. But as long as you're remaining active, that's what we want to keep in mind. Okay, so now we've talked about the benefits of physical activity, what it's all about. Now we are going to just talk about some basic assessments. All right, these are assessments that you can do at home. And with all these assessments, please make sure that you don't hurt yourself when you're doing them. If you feel any pain or discomfort whatsoever when you do these assessments, that you stop doing those at that time. So the first one that we're going to do, and if you want to do it, we can try it out. If you just want to watch as Libby and I do it, okay. But the first one we have here is to assess the lower body strength and endurance. And these are chair stands. And this one I have taken from the Special Olympics fitness assessments documents. And for these chair stands, we are going to time how long does it take us to do 10 stands from the chair. As you can see in the picture, we would start with our feet flat on the floor. We want to sit up nice and tall in our chair. Make sure if you're on a roller chair, I would not do this because I don't want you to roll out of the chair, okay? So just kind of as a word of caution here. We would start sitting nice and tall with our hands across the chest, and then we would stand up nice and tall, and then we would sit back down. So we're gonna do this, and I want you to count on your own 10 stands. And I'm going to time us. When I get to a minute, I'm going to stop just for the sake of the time that we have here today. So everybody ready? All right, and go. And make sure you sit all the way down and stand all the way up. Good, I'm at 5. What do you got, Libby?
Same. 6
okay.
now.
Oh, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, so that was about, what was that? About 25 seconds for us here. Do we have anybody still going? Are we good? Good, okay, great. So if you did it, finished up when about the time we did, we were about between 20 and 25 seconds for those 10 stands. But again, just a simple way to see where you're at as far as your strength and endurance in your lower legs. And if you can test yourself about every couple of months or a month to see if you can do 10 stands faster. All right, Libby has to leave us today because she has to go teach a class right now. But thank you, Libby.
Yes,
thank you, guys.
Libby. Thank you.
Thanks, Libby.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for stepping in.
Still be here.
She has to go teach about healthy aging for college students. So have fun with that. Fitness. She's teaching about fitness. All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Libby. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
All right. So the next one we have here, the next one we've got is for your upper body. And this one, I like to put the warning out there that if you have pain in your shoulder, then do not do this assessment because it could create more pain. I, for example, had shoulder surgery about 4 years ago now, and I'm finally able to do this without having pain. So if you feel any pain if you are attempting to do this assessment, then please just release your hands and don't do it. But the way to do this assessment, as we have here in the picture, is that we would take one arm and we would bring it, like we're gonna pat our back. We're gonna take that other arm and hopefully we can see it here. We're gonna see if we can try to bring our fingers together, right? Like it's shown in that picture. And so if we have a wide gap between our fingers, then that is indicating that we need to work on the range of motion in our upper body and our flexibility in our upper body. And then we would, of course, try it on our other side as well, too. So we'd do the other arm come behind and that other arm as well. Like we're going to give ourselves a pat on the back. So with that, if our fingers have that big gap between the two of them, then that's indicating we need to improve that mobility a little bit more and that flexibility. If our fingers are touching, we're doing pretty good. If our fingers are overlapping, that's saying, hey, you've got great mobility and great flexibility. So again, just a simple one that you can do as well too. All right, so the next one here, yeah, Libby's gone, but her pictures still remain. So with this one, this is a lower body assessment. And again, if you feel any pain in your back when you do this, if you feel any like sharp pains in your legs when you're doing this, then stop. All right, because this can, if you have a really tight back or a weaker back, sometimes this could hurt your back a little bit. So just be aware of your body and how it's feeling. So I do have it described out here on the slide as well, how to do this. But if you want to do this assessment with us, we would scoot towards to the front of our chair, making sure that we're not going to tip over, right? As we see in the picture here. And we'll just go by what the picture shows, because I'll have to, just so I don't have to adjust the camera. So we're going to straighten out let's do our right leg. And you should see in the picture how Libby has a little bit of a bend in that right leg. And she has her fingers, or her hands are stacked on top of each other. So we have this here, and we would reach down towards our toes, and we would hold it. If we can touch our toes, we're doing okay on our flexibility. If our fingers are not to our toes and there's a pretty big gap, that's indicating that, well, we need to work on that lower body flexibility a little bit with our back as well. If our fingers are going way beyond our toes, past our toes there, that's showing that we have some pretty good flexibility in our lower body. Then, of course, we would do that on our other leg. So we'd bring our left leg out, have a soft bend in the knee. That right foot is flat on the floor. Hands will be stacked on top of each other. And we'd reach down towards those toes. Again, looking to see if we are behind our toes, at our toes, touching our toes, or if we are way beyond our toes as well too. So a couple different ways, or one way to assess your lower body flexibility. Again, doing just simple stretches, lower body stretches, doing some gentle back stretches can help too to improve that. For our upper body, doing those things such as our shoulder rolls, doing stretches where we bring our arms across our chest, things of that nature, just simple arm raises up and down can help to improve that mobility and, that flexibility in our upper body. All right. So any questions on the basic assessments we have here?
I do have a random question. So let's say I do my right side and I can touch my right side, but my left side is super, super off. Maybe I'm like really far on my left side. Maybe what does that mean, or what would I have to do if maybe I'm super unbalanced like that?
That would one that would indicate that, well, you just have a tighter side compared to another. And that is common. That can be common if we have one side is tighter than the other. What typically would happen is that our dominant side might be a little bit more flexible than our non-dominant side, but it could be different in other people. But that would just indicate that, when you're stretching, maybe we want to focus a little bit more on stretching that side that's a little bit tighter. But two, it could also indicate that maybe there's some tightness on that other side, on our right side, that's causing our left side to be a little bit tighter. So it's always good to just do that full body stretching overall as well. But that's a really good question. There could be a lot of factors to that, but continue to full body stretch, but really listen to that tighter side of your body to make sure that you don't hurt yourself as well. But thank you, Erin. Good question.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Okay, so to wrap it up here, we have just a couple of different fun little games that include physical activity that you can do with friends. You could do them on your own as well. And I think I just have a couple here that we're going to do. If you want to do them with us, great. I'm just going to show you them, and then we will be finished here tonight. Okay. All right, so this is what I like to call the bag game. And I did this game with my niece and nephew who, well, now one is in middle school and one is still in elementary school, but they seem to have a pretty good time with this when we would do this together. So how you do the bag game is that you get just a plastic shopping bag. All right, so this is just putting a little bit of fun into this activity. So you get just a plastic general shopping bag, and you throw the shopping bag as high in the air as you can, and then you try to see how many squats or jumping jacks or high knees you can do before that bag touches the floor. So another, just showing it again here. So I'm going to throw the bag up in the air. This time I'll try to see how many jumping jacks I can do. So I throw the bag up, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I catch the bag, right? So again, just a different way to do some exercises, but having some fun with it at the same time. So the bag game.
I love that.
It's fun. It's a good time. All right, so the next one I have here, I call it the card game. Again, with my niece and nephew, I was trying to find ways to get them to have fun exercising. This was when COVID was going on, we were all in lockdown. I was trying to think, okay, how can I keep them active and have fun and then not getting bored? So we played Uno for the card game and we exercised. And I have all this stuff up here. It's a lot of writing. But basically what it is with an Uno stack of cards, all right? So there are different colors in the Uno game. So you have red, blue, yellow, green. And so we would draw a card off the top and it would be a yellow card. So we have a yellow card. And so let's say that yellow would represent jumping jacks. And I have the number 2 on this card. So I would have to do 2 jumping jacks. And then I would put that card down and then I would draw another card. Oh, this time I got a 0 and it's a green. So you could make up a rule. So if you drew a 0, maybe that could represent that you have to, I don't know, like do 5 burpees or something like that. But again, you would just draw the card and then assign different exercises to each color. And then whatever number was on the card, you would do that, or you would do that number of reps for that exercise. So again, just a fun little way to work out. You could also do this with dice. You could roll some dice and whatever number pops up on the dice, you have some different exercises that you would do, and then you would do the exercise, that number of exercises that you rolled for that movement. So just a couple different ways to have some fun when you are being physically active. All right, that pretty much wraps up my quick informational presentation here on physical activity. We went over the benefits, went over, a healthy blood pressure of 120/80, 10,000 steps a day, but again, do what's best for you. Then maybe you might go play the bag game someday when you're working out, who knows? But do you have any questions for me at all?
This isn't a question, but a comment, but all those little exercises that we did in the chair, I think those are perfect because we always have athletes that are reaching out like, hey, I just need some good little warm-ups to do before I, go out and do my softball practice or whatever it is that they're doing at that time. So I think like small workouts like that are very underrated. So you guys, if you're listening and you were asking questions about what warm-ups to do, those would be perfect. Those little marches and everything. I know Gigi Kaylee was looking for some, so those would be great for Kaylee.
And I know that I did unified basketball last weekend and I could tell once I had done 2 20-minute halves, I could tell once I started running that my calf was getting a little bit tight, but I was like, oh crap, it's because I forgot to stretch before I went out and ran. But then on Sunday when I play, Saturday after, in the afternoon game, I could tell, oh yeah, it's getting a little bit better. And I was like, well, because I would just stand and not want to sit down. I was like, well, because I know if I sit down, it's going to get tight. It's going to get tighter. So I want it to move so that it can loosen up.
Right.
And then on Sunday, I was fine. I was like, yeah, but I could tell, I was like, oh man, yeah, it's because you forgot to stretch.
Yeah, stretching is very, very important. People, and kind of what you said, Aaron, too, to tag on to that, is people forget how important a warm up really is, because it helps your body start moving, the blood flowing, gets your joints from being less creaky and whatnot, which really helps in being active too.
For sure. Gigi, Seth, any questions?
Nope.
So what are some good exercises, Laura, if like if you've worked and like if somebody has accidentally like shut like their trunklet on your shoulder and like that you can stretch to like loosen the shoulder up a little bit, because I've had issues with this since I've worked at my job because it happened to me.
Well, first I would make sure that your shoulder is okay.
Right.
Because if it got shut in a trunk, that's a pretty traumatic.
And it was like a muscle issue because I went to the doctor after it happened and they're basically like, well, all it is a muscle issue and you can't do anything about it.
Gotcha. Well, I would say approach with caution. Do you have a lot of pain right now?
No. And then I noticed that anytime I do, I take like a Tylenol or an ibuprofen or something just to like, I notice anytime like I try and lift stuff sometimes after I come home, it's like, well, it doesn't feel right. Like but I've noticed, but like I said, they said that when it happened, it was like, but this has been like 10 or 15 years, but they said when it happened, it was like muscle, like it was on the muscle and not like the shoulder, the bone area.
Gotcha. Well, just the simple things that we did in our little warm up where we did like our shoulder rolls and our shoulder shrugs. That's just some really gentle range of motion activities and stretching activities you can do. Even just, like if you bring your hands behind your chest to a point that feels comfortable. If you have any pain when you bring your arms back, don't take it that far. But even just opening up your chest, such as this, bring your hands in and out. That can just help with your range of motion as well too.
Okay.
And like arm across the chest, that's another good stretch. But again, if you don't feel any pain, you could just try even starting like just patting yourself on the back.
Right.
To see if that can help with some of that shoulder mobility and the stretching as well too. But definitely, if you're out playing basketball and whatnot, that's a lot of shoulder work. So I would for sure, shoulder rolls, and shrugs, and like I like to call them chicken wings, right? Too. Even those can help with your shoulders and your arms as well.
Okay.
That's a really good question.
Okay. Thank you, Laura.
You're welcome.
Anything else, you guys? I think that was a great presentation. That was fun. I liked that it was active too. I got to actually move around. So that was great. All right, guys. Well, if you don't have any more questions for her, let's give her a big round of applause and a big thank you for coming out. So thank you so much. We appreciate all the input. You guys have so much knowledge that you can bring to the table. You've been here longer than I have, so you have much more input at this point. But no, for real, we thank you guys a lot. And I'm sure that we'll have you on or see you sooner than later.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Erin. And thank you all for joining on the call tonight.
Yep. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, guys. Have a great Wednesday, and we'll see you later.
See you in less than an hour.
I know. Bye.
All right, bye.